Well, Richard, my name is Mark Knapp. I'm an attorney, and I provide representation in criminal defense cases, and I do some employment law, and my main focus, though, is on cases that have to do with firearms and firearms law.
So you would say the Second Amendment is what you do?
Yep.
Cover mainly?
Yeah, my passion is for the Constitution and civil rights, and like I said, the main focus of that has to do not just with the Second Amendment, but actually there aren't a lot of cases that come up that directly implicate the Second Amendment, because in Washington, particularly, we have a lot of statutes that protect us, and we also have the Washington State Constitution, which is very strongly in favor of gun rights.
Okay,
and
Mark.
armed citizens.
Thank you. As a practicing attorney, concerning the Second Amendment and civil rights, what do you think are the reasons for the opposition to the Second Amendment?
Well, I think on the part of people in big cities, there's a lot of fear, and people tend to look at the gun, specifically pistols, as being something that's associated with crime. And it's interesting, you look at the localities that are the most anti-gun, like New York City and Chicago and some of the big cities, even on the West Coast, especially in California. And I think there's even an aspect of racism involved in it, because even though people don't want to admit it, the people out in the suburbs and in some of the more affluent areas, they're afraid of the people in the inner cities. But as a matter of fact, the people in the inner cities, a lot of times are being oppressed by criminals and predators. And it's the people in the inner cities that oftentimes are even afraid to testify when they are the victims of crime. And by depriving people like that, honest working people that live in the inner city, by depriving them of their ability to protect themselves and their families, we're actually exacerbating a problem that affects the less privileged people in our society.
Thanks for stopping. Can you tell us real quick your first name and what you do for a living?
I'm Belinda Smith, and I'm homeless in Seattle. And I think that the Second Amendment to the right to bear arms should be shot down. I think that the arms fall into the wrong hands too often, and that more innocent people die than need be. Then I think that more responsibility needs to be placed on our government to have more rules to regulate firearms in the cities and whoever the public is who want to own them. So that's my opinion.
So as a U.S. citizen, how important do you think it is to have the Second Amendment?
I think that we need the Second Amendment. I think we need all the amendments. We don't want to do away with the amendment just because we have a dispute over the right to bear arms. So I think that the Second Amendment needs to stay right where it's at. I think that the dispute is between whether we should have more legalities concerning arms or not.
And what do you think would happen if the Second Amendment was taken away from us?
All chaos would break loose. I think that there would just be, I don't want to say genocide, but I mean, it would just be a madness. People would lose all control concerning the right to bear arms. Everyone and anyone could have a gun, and I think it would place a lot of people in danger. So.
Can you just start by telling me your first name and what you do for a living, please?
My name is Shane. I'm currently unemployed, but I was a student last year. and that's about it.
Okay. And what comes to mind when you hear the term Second Amendment?
Guns immediately, and then that's about it. The right to bear arms, and the controversy surrounding whether or not we should be allowed to carry firearms, and like the D.C. thing, like Washington D.C. How you're not allowed to have firearms in Washington D.C. I think it's kind of unconstitutional, personally.
So, as a citizen of the United States, how vital do you think the Second Amendment is?
I think it's pretty vital. Like, it's like, if you outlaw guns, only outlaws will have guns, kind of thing. I think that's true. So it's pretty important, but obviously not as important as some other rights. But
And what do you think would happen if the Second Amendment were taken away?
I don't think it'd be too bad. I just think that it would be like a set a precedent for taking away more rights. I think that'd be the worst part. But I think it'd be, if no one had guns and only outlaws had guns, that would obviously cause problems. Maybe. Yeah.
President and founder of Citizens for the Second Amendment group here in Seattle. I want to take this time to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to take a look at our video. We're trying to basically get across what exactly the Second Amendment is, how people feel about it, and some of the truths and some of the myths concerning the Second Amendment. In the concluding part of this presentation, I want to bring up the fact that the Second Amendment doesn't give you the right to carry a gun. It doesn't give you a right to have a gun. It doesn't give you a right to keep and bear arms in any way, shape, or form. The Second Amendment guarantees these rights to us, to each individual person that lives within the United States. Everyone has a right to protect themselves. And the Second Amendment makes that possible by ensuring these rights to each individual person in the United States. The laws from state to state change. Here in Washington State, there are two ways you can carry a weapon. You can either carry concealed or you can open carry. Concealed takes a permit and a thorough background check through the FBI, through state, through city agencies. It takes about 2 to 3 months to get your concealed weapons permit. To open carry here in the United States, you still have to wait a waiting period in order to purchase a handgun. And your background is checked and cleared, and at that time you can purchase a handgun. I'm bringing this up because so many times people are confused and thinking that to have a handgun, to open carry, you need a permit, when in Washington State it's totally legal to do so, as long as you legally purchase the firearm. I want to read the original intent and purpose of the Second Amendment in the conclusion of this. A well-regulated militia necessary to the security of a free state, which is what all states are, the right of the people, that is, we the people of the United States of America, to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. And as before, I had stated that a militia is not the military. It is not an organized governing body connected to the National Guard, the Army, the Marine Corps, or any military service group therein. A militia at that time, as it stands to this day, are the people in this country who are ready to protect this country from all enemies, foreign and domestic. We are guaranteed this, and this is a right of ours in the Second Amendment. A lot of people come up with the question, well, we have a police department. The police are here to protect us. Collectively, as a society, they are to maintain order in society. Individually, they have no responsibility to protect anyone. And there have been several Supreme Court cases that have been cited for this. I'd like to just read what this basically says here. Police have no legal duty to